Good morning, Applied English. Happy day 38, one of the last few weeks of this fall semester. Filming from the Hantak family kitchen, so I don't wake up some people who are still sleeping in the house today. Let's start off today with a little devotional, and then we'll continue through the rest of this lesson. Our verse today comes from the very end of the book of Matthew, the first of the four Gospels. These are some of Jesus' last words before he ascends into heaven. So he's been resurrected from the grave, he's speaking with his disciples, and he gives them this great commission. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. In my classroom, we have that bulletin board that provides answers for some of our most difficult questions. This one's actually split between two questions. One of them is, does my life have purpose? The first half of this verse, verse 18, where Jesus is saying, hey, go make disciples, baptize them, teach them to obey everything I've commanded you. That part is part of what gives our life purpose, right? Jesus tells us how we should be living our lives and to what aim we should live our lives to. Or we live so that other people will come to know Jesus Christ. But then we get this excellent last verse, verse 20, and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. For me, that verse is such a powerful reminder that I'm never alone. I'm never alone when life feels hard, kind of like it does now. Spent my weekend when I wasn't watching my kids, trying to adjust everything with all the changes in school format again. We're reminded that we're never alone when life gets hard. We're also never alone when we're on top of the mountain too. When we're celebrating, we're reminded that Jesus celebrates with us. When we're struggling, Jesus struggles alongside of us, and he gives us encouragement and strength and power to pull through. I'm preaching to myself as much as I am to you right now. I know that life is hard, dealing with a little bit of a struggle too as we wrap up this semester, as I look at our grade books, as I look at what kind of time we have left to teach. I know that you guys are working through those things too. So that my prayer for you today is that you can find encouragement in the fact that you aren't alone. No matter how far behind you might be in the grade book, no matter how difficult this semester may feel, no matter how bad this world may look, Jesus reminds us that he is with us always, to the very end of the age, to the end of the world, to the end of time. No matter how difficult it is, he stands with us. Perhaps you needed that reminder today as much as I did. I know that when life gets tough, we have to cling to those promises that resonate with us most. This is one that I pray I'll be able to hold dearly in my heart today, that Christ stands with me, and he stands with you too. Let's look at our lesson. Alright, so our only objective for today is for you to use meter and rhyme in your own poetry. Do a little bit of poetry writing today. You're watching our day 38 devotional and directions right now, so we're on to the directions part. I'm going to try to keep these quick for the sake of your work today. It says this: by the end of this week, please complete the poetry practice discussion at the bottom of today's lesson folder. We'll look at that in a moment. It also notes that today is a great day to complete missing work. While I'm here, I might as well note in our upcoming lesson, just a couple more notes on poetry. I've decided to cut new grammar instruction this semester with the change in school format to try to help you guys out with things like missing work. So please make sure that you are staying on top of poetry instruction this week. I did move our dreams assignment from last Thursday, Friday into this lesson folder. A lot of you actually still need to complete this one, so when you get the chance, please make sure that your dreams assignment is in. I'll be grading those throughout the week. While we're talking about missing work, one thing I would note is that I did go through the gradebook and add zeros for missing expository essays yesterday. The expository essay is one of the largest assignments in the entire course, so if you have a zero in it, it is majorly impacting your grade for the worse. I am not going to count it late if you get it in this week, so I'll be contacting you to let you know what you're missing and how to get that in. Please make sure that you're checking out your messages so that you can get those things in too. For those of you who are done, I'm going to get yours graded today so that you can start revising for a higher grade. I'll show that in our next lesson. As I said earlier, today is also a great day to complete other missing work. Alright, poetry practice discussion number 1. This gives you a chance to do a little bit of your own poetry writing. It says this: it's one thing to identify poetic devices and themes in poems, but using them in our own writing takes poetry to a whole new level. For this discussion, please write your own poem. I'm looking for 6 to 12 lines, don't have to go too long. And all I'm looking for is that it contains some form of meter. So I want it to be flowy to some degree. You don't have to keep the same flow throughout the entire poem, but I want you to mess with meter a little bit. And include some form of rhyme. This can be end rhyme, could be internal rhyme, or you can mix both. There are no requirements for what you write your poem about. Obviously, you want your poem to be school appropriate, but you can write this poem about anything you want. There's also no requirement for the length of your lines. So if you want each of your lines to contain 3 words, that's absolutely fine. Just make sure you're hitting that meter and rhyme requirement. I'm just grading this discussion as a 5-point formative assessment. We're going to do one more poetry discussion that's going to be a 5-point summative, so it's worth a little more in the grade book. I'm only basing this on completeness, so you want to make sure that your poem is the right length. Again, 6 to 12 lines is ideal. And I do want you to include some form of meter and rhyme. That's going to be part of your completion grade here. I want to note here, you and your classmates can read each other's posts, so be careful what you write about. Please know that we can all read it within your class period. You can also leave a constructive comment on a classmate's poem for 1 to 3 extra credit points, just depending on how constructive that comment is. So, well-written compliments. I really like your rhyme in lines 3 and 5. Observations. Maybe you notice something cool about a classmate's poem, maybe something with its theme or poetic devices. Clarifying questions are also fair game there as well. What did you mean when you said this in line 6 or something like that? Please make sure once again, please make sure in your comments to each other that you are writing incomplete sentences. It's going to help with how many extra credit points I can award you. As far as writing your poem and creating lines go, let me demonstrate for you real quick. I'll just type in one of my poems that I've been working on. I'll put this in quotes right here, and this is The Carpenter. Just the title of my poem right there. Now the way to move from line to line in poetry writing on the computer is to hit enter. So I'll hit enter and start typing in line 1 of all the items you designed. I hit enter again for line 2, conceptualized in your mind. Notice that I'm hitting enter between each lines. I'm going to go ahead and complete my poem. I'll kind of speed it up through the video. Read this one back out loud, maybe if that gives you an idea on what you can write your poem about. All right, little Christmas poem. Let me double check on this right quick. It's a little 12-line poem. Like I said, it's a work in progress, so it's not perfect. But I just wanted to post this. I'll kind of show you what it looks like. You'll be able to see my poem after you write yours as well. Post. So this is The Carpenter. What I want you to listen for, as I read this one aloud, is how I played with meter and rhyme in this poem. Of all the items you designed, conceptualized in your mind, one thing you did not. Your firstborn son was not conceived, but brought. But like the items that you built, constructed with your skill, you formed him with your hands. You made a helpless baby into a man. You never saw his deeds, his death, with hope you passed away. But know this, gentle Joseph, you've taught us to obey. Little Christmas poem focusing on Joseph, the stepfather, if you will, of Jesus Christ, and how his life teaches us to obey God as he obeyed God. Notice once again how I played with meter and rhyme. You won't be able to see my poem until you post yours, but I'm hoping that you find this video helpful for how you might create your poems. Once again, hit enter for every new line that you'd like to move on to. Please note, the due date for the poetry practice discussion is not till the end of the week, so end of Friday. That does give you the entire week to write if you need. It also gives you a chance to keep coming back to this discussion to see what your classmates have written. So I wanted to give you lots of time with that. If you don't want to complete your poem today, that's fine, but please use the rest of this lesson to get caught up in the grade book. I will be working on my last little bit of grading, and I will be double checking for essays throughout the day today as you get those turned in. Hit me up in Microsoft Teams this afternoon if you need help completing anything. But otherwise, let's use this day to get a lot of stuff done.